Welcome to Tech Startup Stories, hosted by Natalie Binns. This is the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the B2B startup world.
Hi, I'm Natalie Binns, and I'm the host of Tech Startup Stories. This podcast is really designed to share the unique and challenging journeys of all the people that are building small startups to scale-ups in the tech space. My background? Initially, I was in sales, and then I moved into marketing, and I've been lucky enough to work with some amazing tech companies. But my passion is really startups. And that led me back to helping tech startups set up their marketing and go-to-market functions where the budgets are tight and the resources are few and far between. So let's get into this week's podcast. Hi, everyone. Today I'm speaking with Rodrigo Malachias from MedibleGo, which is a really cool startup. And they focus on an AI platform that really helps startups, particularly in the fintech area. But I'm sure, Rodrigo, you can tell me a little bit more about that and share really what it does in your own words, if you don't mind.
Sure, my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. A pleasure to be here. So MedibleGo, it is one AI platform that help SMEs, startups, can be fintech, but can be from other sectors as well, to better understand the need of their clients or prospects, depending on their challenging, and helping you to grow faster. So it's kind of we help our customers to boost their business based on their clients' insight, and all that in a very affordable way, I would say, because we have been developing this AI model that can that allows us to reach a great of customers, of clients that can, so therefore quite accessible to everybody to use it now.
On MedibleGo, I noticed that you also started with Medible. So tell me about that connection and how MedibleGo came about.
Sure. So, with my co-founder, we started Medible 12 years ago in Chile. Medible, it is a consultants firm with a great specialization on financial services, and so we help like traditional banks and insurance companies to develop the next generation of their products and services. Um, as a constancy, the business is running well. It is still running. We are in 13 different countries now. Then at some point we started with Francisca, my co-founder. We start to challenge ourselves. How can we create something that would allow us to help a wider range of companies and entrepreneurs and SMEs? Because I mean, with consultancy, it's fine. We have fun. We enjoy it. It's lovely to work with Visa, Mastercard, big banks. But it's very like it's not democratized the access to this sort of consultancy, and that's why we have challenged ourselves to build MedibleGo. So it is kind of the same methodology and all the same data that we have been using for 12 years into this consultants firm. It is now available into this AI platform to all SMEs and startups.
Love it. So from the consultants world of people being the product to moving into this tech, this platform being the product, how has that shift been for you?
It is very hard. It is a different game. It is we had to learn a lot along this process. Um, so the consultancy, the positive side of it, it is people who know it is, and the negative side is people. So it's kind of on both sides. With the AI, I mean, I would say there's more upfront investment that you have to do as a company. We have been investing for 2 years already into our AI model. We have received great support from Innovate UK with a few grants that we have been awarded with that speed up this development process. But yeah, you have to invest a bit more upfront than in a consultancy. I would say that's the main challenge when you're building your service. And for sure, later the go-to-market, it's very different. In the consultancy side, we are more engaging with C-level executives, with traditional financial institutions. So with it is in the beginning it's very hard, but once you have the connections, kind of it flows with the no with the Go. In MedibleGo, it's very different. It's more pulverized to our clients. They are more dispersed globally and different industries. So it's has been challenging as well to reach the right audience to build our user base. And but it's so but I don't know if I could answer your question, but that's
No, you do, definitely. I think, there's actually quite a few guests on this podcast that are making that shift from the people, the concept of what it is that they're providing, then shifting it onto a piece of software, platform, SaaS, whatever. And so you're almost proving the thing that needs to happen with people and then moving it into something that's automated. It's more scalable, it's more accessed globally. You started the business in Chile. Um, you've grown exponentially, massive organization in terms of your global presence. What made you kind of get to the UK? How did you end up becoming this UK sort of startup?
I love the weather and the food. No.
You're definitely lying to me now. I know it. I'll trade places.
We were actually invited by the government to come here. So every after Brexit, I reckon, the government in the USA they created yeah at that moment and it's still going on. They created this initiative that's called Global Entrepreneur Program, and then they actively scout entrepreneurs and business that are overseas, and that they think that could be a strong value proposition for the UK economy, both
Mm,
internally and with the potential for sure to do exports from here. So yeah, they invited us here. It has been great. So the people from the Department of Business and Trade, they help us a lot with connections, with networking, with administrative things like visa and all this sort of stuff, and getting to know and explain how does it work to buy a property here and renting and schools. Well, really basic kind of stuff that you need for life. But also business wise, they support us a lot. So yeah, that's the main reason that drove us here to the UK.
interesting. So I think what's a fascinating conversation that I've had recently is this move from the UK government, particularly, but Silicon Valley have been dominating for many, many years on in the tech startup front. Also New York, Austin, Chicago. There's lots of other hubs of startups. Germany have got a load, the UK. What do you think is going to change in terms of the landscape of where these tech hubs are going to take ownership and drive from? Because we know if you're going for investment, a lot of the big boys, so to speak, a lot of the big traditional VCs are based out in the States. What do you think is going to change in the next, say, 3 to 5 years in terms of the UK and the European startup community?
So well, US it is for sure a bigger market. They have more money. They are more riskier than here in the UK or Europe. The no the mindset of investors here is it a bit more traditional, I would say, or less riskier. So that and with that changes a lot. If you have more money, you're more up for investing on riskier startups, then for sure you trend on developing a very interesting ecosystem of innovation. Yet I do think that UK have a great, compelling position that could be further explored is that the companies that are born here in the UK, they are more global, I would say, than those that start just with the US. US is massive. You get lost in US. I mean, for sure, we know all these fancy global brands that they have started there, but most of the startup ecosystem, they are just trying to going from California to New York, and they are into their own kind of thing. When you try to look, for example, the innovations that's going on in the financial services here in the UK is much more attractive, I would say, from a startup perspective, because the companies that are born here very often they have more like a global view on developing and going wider than just be isolated in one single country. So I think that is a great thing, and I do expect that the UK start to collaborate, or again, and a bit more with Europe. I think that having strong commercial alliance and agreements to flourish startup business and what you're talking about, but for sure for other business as well. It could be very good for the UK and Europe overall, and for the business and founders for sure, definitely. Well, and by consequence for society, that the main goal, that to have everybody like living a bit better with better solutions, with better services, with a better life overall. So particularly financial services, I would say that the UK is very unique, and it's very cool to when you have the when you're working in the financial sector to be here in the UK, because every company, every global or every startup that's trying to be global on financial sector, they pass by the UK. Either if you're coming from Asia and you want to go to Americas, you stop by here. If you're going from Americas, you want to go to Asia, you stop by here. If you want to go to the Middle East, you stop here. So it's a very good location to do business internationally. And in MedibleGo, yeah, it is a very early stage. We start to commercialize November last year, so very, very early stage, but we already have users in Italy, we have in Chile, we have in USA, we have for sure here in the UK as well. So gives us the ability and the time zone flexibility to work in with a wide range of countries. So that's also very like interesting from developing a startup here from the UK.
And with that in mind, you're kind of dealing with a lot of different time zones, and you're probably wearing multiple hats being in that startup mode. When do you get time to relax and switch off ever?
Um, Before being a founder, I used to work in multinationals before, and I'm used like to the corporate side and also to the startup side. I think that there's ups and downs in both. When you're in a corporation, very often you can switch off easier. When you are a founder, you kind of always on. It's very hard to have a very like 2 weeks holiday doing nothing or not being tempted to look your email or something like that. It's very hard. You get a bit more flexibility on other side. So if you, we don't have a boss. You don't have like to be clocking in and clocking out. And so if it's a week, it's a bit more easygoing. You can enjoy a bit more yourself, your family, doing stuff. And one thing that I have done that is helping me, I subscribe myself to run a half marathon. And yeah, and now I'm pushing myself to be organized and to have time to prepare to it and not to die along the way. So
We hope you
I don't.
don't die.
Yeah, me too.
When
And
when is this? When are you doing the
the second or third of March, I reckon. The
Okay.
So it's behind the corner, and yeah, uh, let's see how
Well,
this goes.
indeed, indeed. So do you get chance to, when you're on your runs, think about things? Is that a great place for you to kind of get new ideas or think things through?
Mm, like well, I'm not great on every kind of exercise, but I do think that exercising is very good for creativity overall. For me, at
Mm.
least, running really helped me to have. I don't want to be that I have good ideas. I'm not sure if I have a good ideas ever, but yeah, I do feel that when I'm running, it is a good space to clear the head, and then some ideas that I wasn't expecting pop up into my head. So it's
It's good relaxing time to take a step back away from the screen. I think that's super important. So where do you see MedibleGo going? What's your kind of vision for the platform and the company as a whole?
the say is not mine. It's from we have a board of the advisory board, board of advisors, and one of the gentleman who is in our board. He's a very seasoned investor from one family office that has been rewarded as one of the best family offices here in the UK. So very talented person. And we were in a meeting very recently, and he said, "Look, I'm so excited. We are building here a multi-billion pounds company. So that's our dream. That's what we are doing. We're starting small, and that's it, but that's what we are doing. And more importantly, it's not just making the money for sure. That's something beneficial, and it's not a problem at all. But more importantly, what we have found it is that MedibleGo is helping so much our users. We are changing people's life when they are using us, because very often founders, they are lonely. They don't have anyone to talk with. Or from time to time, they don't have all the skills that's necessary to run the business. It's very, you cannot have a skill on every single front. And then as a founder, when in early stages especially, you have to try to do everything on your best of a capacity. And MedibleGo, it is helping with that. It's helping on, at least it's a strategic partner that help you to grow. So when it comes on making your company to grow faster, you have someone to talk with, you have someone to rely on that will guide you through this process. And we are very excited because of that. We are seeing the real impact. So again, it's very nice to work for Visa or MasterCard. It is I don't know, fill up our egos. But for me, it's much more beautiful when Gloria, she's a founder of a nightclub in London, that was struggling with the results, and after using us, is starting to flourish the business again. For me, it's much more rewarding going out to that nightclub and see that everything is going on, and then she's happy, and the customer happy, and everybody's dancing. So, I mean, it's so yeah, we are here in this process, an ambitious process.
So the satisfaction is huge for you guys. The money's always nice, of course, but it's really going to be that bonus of people being more than happy with what they're getting from you. I noticed from the way that it works that you have this platform, you have a bunch of things that you have access to it. Where do you see that growing over time, adding new products? Um, what's kind of the long-term roadmap, if you like?
We have a very long roadmap ahead, which is good. So while we are helping our users to identify the needs of their clients and helping them with a better strategy to grow, and we are stopping there. But further on, we want also to help them on implementing that strategy. So, for example, very often it's a common challenge that our users have. Oh, they have challenge on enhancing their social media. That's something that we are not doing, but and what you're doing. And to be honest, I don't think that we will ever do, but partner up with companies that could help our users to keep on doing this journey. We already have a few partnerships in Europe, here in the UK, with companies that can complement the service that we offer in MedibleGo. And one very strong piece that we are working very hard to develop, it is the financial component, because very often to implement the strategies that we that MedibleGo suggests to our users, they need additional money. So we want to make this bridge between them and to the lending ecosystem, and also investors and everything. But the lending's a bit bigger the ecosystem, helping them to get easier access and fair lending rates that would allow them to implement the things that they know that they have to do. Because so that's the kind of thing. For example, this nightclub example that I was saying, after this process, she understood that she would have to invest like £20,000 in her business, more or less. And she does not have this sort of money. As at MedibleGo, we don't have sort of money to deploy like that. But then helping her to connect with an investor that really understands what she's doing. So while she's investing this 20,000, the result that it's going to get, how the basis of it or the business case have been built within the customer's inside. So it's a very good lending opportunity for these institutions because they know where she will invest in her business to make it grow faster. Um, so yeah, that's the idea, is to keep on building a ecosystem that will support SMEs to do better, and that's our vision. Like worldwide, 70%, if I'm not mistaken, or 60% of the global GDP, it is generated by SMEs, and SMEs are those that have no or less support when comparing to big corporations, because they don't have access to the same kind of talents, they don't have money, they don't have, and that's the kind of thing that we want to change, and the consequence of that could be huge for everybody, for the global economy.
Mm, mm. I think you've got so much opportunity, and I love anything that can help small businesses grow. Well, that's something that I'm extremely passionate about. So my last question to you is, you've built several businesses, you built them from scratch. This is your kind of first tech business from the beginning. What would you say to anybody that's out there that's either sort of trying to test the concept of whatever their idea is from a services perspective first, with a view to shifting into the tech? What advice would you give those individuals?
I would say that the most important thing is not to fall in love with your solution or with your technology, but to fall in love with the problem of the of your clients or potential clients. Um, in one example, very recently, one fintech here in the UK, they have used us. And then after this process, the founder said, "Oh, bloody hell! If I have used you guys before, I would have saved like £100,000 in 2 years of my life." Because they were in love with the thing that they have built, but there was no they were not really solving the problems of their targeted audience. So I would say that's the core thing. Do not lose your customer from perspective, and be ready to pivot, to change, to adjust, and to evolve your solution. You will have to do that. It's there's no business that start the same and stay the same for decades. They do change. So the ability of changing, the ability of listening, the ability of understanding better the need of their clients, it is vital to make a successful company, and to make your customers happy. And by the end of the day, that's the main goal. No, to solve problems of the economy. Companies just exist to solve problems. So you have to find good problems and fall in love with the problem, not with your tech or solution.
I love that. Fall in love with the problem. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. Lovely to speak to you today, Rodrigo, and good luck with everything for MedibleGo.
Thank you so much. My pleasure being here. Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Tech Startup Stories. Have a story you'd like us to share, or a topic you'd want to cover? Reach out and we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care.